Well, welcome back. As I said, yesterday was the monthly meeting of the United Board amongst a lot of meetings this month that we've had, and we televised that live, and if I'm not mistaken, it ran about 2 hours and 47 minutes. Phil Durant,
it seemed like about 11 and a half hours,
no,
but I'll take your
it
word
really
for
was. 2 hours and 47 minutes.
You clocked it, you know.
Yeah, give or take a few seconds there. Busy month for meetings.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot going on this month, and obviously a lot of work for the board, but that's part of it.
Right. We're into it. We're taking care of business here, and you know, a lot of it's odds and ends left over, and some of it's new stuff that needs to be brought up, started, and some of it is, you know, things happen that have to be dealt with immediately. Like for instance, we have an election coming up, and part and parcel of that is making sure those who are qualified to vote can vote, and those who are not yet qualified, we can help solve their problems. So we're establishing a voter eligibility committee, and that is if someone is, for example, behind in their payments or whatever, we'll meet with them and we'll see what we can do to straighten that situation out to make sure that they're good to go by the time it's time to vote. So these kind of odds and ends that are important to the functioning of things, to make sure everybody has a chance to make their vote and express their opinion and everything.
And we should mention that the eligibility, let me rephrase that. The time has passed for you to become eligible to run for the board. Am I correct?
That is correct.
That has not been extended. Correct. So anyone who wanted to run for the board, that's already
settled.
Okay.
Yes, that's right.
All right, very good. Speaking of, I'm going to go in a little bit in reverse order here from what you wrote down here. Speaking of odds and ends, this is not a minor odds and ends, but it's something that's been going on, someone said yesterday, for decades. That's about the lighting in United, really in general, in the community. And you are moving ahead with at least a preliminary project.
Right. It's part of the pilot program, and it's embarrassing to say after all the talking about it, all the committee meetings and reports and everything, that so little has been done. But finally, we've authorized the beginning of that pilot program to get a new set of lightings into a certain in the cul-de-sac, and just give people a chance to come over, take a look at it, kick the tires. Don't kick the lights, just metaphorically.
Don't kick the lights.
And see, and you know, everybody, you know, is saying, well, geez, why isn't it solar? And the truth is, those small things don't really work well in solar, because you need a solar pad about this big to light a light this big.
Right.
The overall thought, and again, this is something that's probably going to take a lot of planning, is to use all of the carport roofs as solar panels. And this is an eventuality, and this will help in a couple of ways. It'll really give us a foundation for landscape lighting, for pathway lighting, and it will help those with the golf carts and the more and more electric vehicles coming in. So concurrent with that, this is the discussion at this point, is that solar panels, and they're improving all the time. They're getting cheaper, they're getting more efficient and everything. And then we'll have transformers for those who have electric cars who need pushed up to 220, I guess, for their charges. They're able to purchase or somehow arrange for that. And really the question is to eventually electrify the whole community in a smart way.
Right, and as it was commented yesterday when someone asked about solar, many people think that with the solar panels are powering the lights. In essence, they are not. They're charging batteries. Whether or not you have those little $2 cheap plastic things, or you have something for a whole community or a home, they are basically powering a charging station. So therefore, any existing infrastructure can one day be tied into that. It's just another source of electricity.
Exactly right. And you know, the shame of it is, as you drive around the community, as you look at new structures coming up, more and more of them have solar panels somewhere, some everywhere. And we've really fallen behind. We had a chance to get in early in this game, and maybe there's an advantage to have waited because the panels are cheaper and more efficient. But we can't keep waiting. We got to jump in and get on it.
Exactly. And as you stated, you're going to see more and more people going for electric vehicles, smaller electric vehicles, because they are maybe no longer need a vehicle that can go off on a road trip
Sure.
for hundreds of miles. So therefore, that infrastructure one day needs to be in place. Otherwise, you're going to have extension cords going everywhere.
Oh, absolutely. And all you have to look is the amount of gadgetry in the average home. It used to be somebody had a television, they had a clock or something.
Right.
But now, wall to wall with computers and printers and scanners and lasers. I mean, the supply on an individual level for electricity is continuing to mount.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. You also voted to discontinue the new color palette, and explain that a little bit, because over the past year,
Right.
we've been shown, in fact, still on the wall down there, we
Yes.
showed it yesterday, a couple came up and were talking about something about a certain wall they didn't want painted a certain color. Those color palettes are in place. Does that mean you're abandoning those color palettes that have been shown over the past year, or or the schedule for it, or it was a little...
Yes, I know.
If you could clarify that.
I'll hope to. I mean, this is something, guys shouldn't get into these color conversations because, guys see red, green, and blue. That's what we see. Guys think puce and magenta are names of drag queens.
Yeah.
So we don't know about these things. But to the best of my ability to perceive this, we're going to discontinue color group 6, which is,
Okay.
The colors are Grige Avenue and Somerville Red.
Grige Avenue.
Grige Avenue, you got me.
That tells me nothing.
It sounds like a gray of some.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Color group 7 which is Monticello Rose, probably like a pink. Okay. Lancaster Whitewash, fancy way of saying white. And color group 8, which is Blair Gold, and again Lancaster Whitewash. These are the exterior palette colors.
Okay.
So my advice would be, if you've been notified that your cul-de-sac is about to be painted, I would check in with Property Services and see if you were enamored with those colors and want them. I'm not sure that they're still being offered, so you may need to choose an alternative.
Is the change due to you're finding people are seeing these and going, we really don't care for this, or you're just cutting back on I think there was a dozen different palettes at one time?
I think the first thing you said was probably right.
Okay.
That, this is a hard thing to do. When you look at the colors we have, they're awfully bland, and it does look sometimes like an army barracks in here with the same universal color. But yet, any attempt to try to add a little pizzazz to something is always someone's subjective opinion.
Yeah.
And someone may love it, and someone may say, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, generally speaking, it's hard to pick to pick a jazzy color that everybody's going to like enough to live with. I think it's always wiser to let people paint neutral colors and let them use shrubbery or flowers and this kind of thing for accents to bring color, bougainvillea to their house. But what do I know? So
All right.
that's why I'm not on the landscape paint committee.
All right. As I mentioned at the top of the show today, that special meeting coming up on Monday.
Right.
On 1 o'clock that we will be televising here, an all boards meeting. And this is a discussion about direct elections of JRF directors by district.
By district.
But the misnomer of this meeting is people think that if this passes, it's going to be like that. It's not. It's just the first step of
Yes, really.
surveying the members, basically.
It's essentially, let's talk about the shape of the meeting and how it's going to be conducted. All the board of directors, the presidents of the board of directors will be in the board seats, that horseshoe seats, and they're lawyers. Okay, the directors of the various mutuals will be seated in the audience in various groups. Whatever's left will be audience, and there'll be a spillover room for those who want to see it. Hear it with audio piped in, audio and video piped in, for them to see it. There will be questions taken from the membership. The issue will be discussed by the board, by the various directors. There's a little bit of a gray area as to who actually is leading the meeting. United called the meeting. We called the meeting at United. So there's those who think I should be the president. That's fine. And there's those that think that because it's a GRF issue, Lynn should be the president, and that's also fine. So whichever way it goes, I'm fine with it. After discussion and weighing in by the lawyers as to what a lot of the legal ramifications of this move will be, the directors will then vote. There'll be an open ballot. Let's see, wait a minute, I don't want to misspeak. Maybe it is a secret ballot. We went back and forth on this. I'm sorry, mark that. It's a secret ballot. And each vote is weighted in terms of the number of directors you have represent X amount of people in your mutual. So that weighted vote is totaled, and whoever has the highest weighted vote, or whatever side has the highest weighted vote will win. As you said earlier, Ken, the strange thing about this is it actually has no even if it's carried to do it, there's a question as to whether it can force a mutual to add this ballot to their election if that mutual does not want to do that. Furthermore, the ballot that is added, and please don't think that if by voting yes on this, you're instantly and automatically going to get direct representation. This is more of a survey,
Right.
more of a popularity poll, more of a gauge to find out, what percentage of the membership wants this. So,
And the reason it's being added, if it goes through, is because there's no additional charge for that.
Yes,
In other words,
it's a
it's
cheap
going to
way
be,
to-
when you go to elect your board members, this
Right.
will be an additional part of it.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cheap way of doing that. It just,
Yeah.
the only problem with it is people get confused. They said, wait a minute, I voted for this, how come we're not having direct,
Right.
So just if you know that you're taking part in a survey, then that's fine. That's what we're
Okay,
doing.
very good. And again, that meeting, should you choose to either attend or view, 1 p.m., Monday, August 19th. And we'll see who chairs the meeting. We're not sure
We'll
yet.
see.
We'll need to know so we can get
we'll take
everybody's
turns.
names
I don't
in.
know.
And so we're prepared for that. Well, Phil, thank you very much. Anything else you want to add?
Well, just always a pleasure to be here.
All right,
and,
nice to see you.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
All right.
Take care. And again, we'll replay the regular meeting. I have to emphasize that because there's so many meetings this month. On August 15th, which is tomorrow at 1:30 p.m., 2 hours and 47 minutes. Next week, August 21st at 6 p.m. And again, that's the regular meeting. I believe that we're redoing your budget meeting as well. That will be replayed on Friday at 2 p.m. So if you want to see the budget meeting, which is actually a 2014 business plan presentation, but we call it the budget meeting, that'll be on Friday. And hopefully I didn't confuse you with all these meetings, but that's what it is. All right, Phil, nice to see you again.
Good to see you too.
All right, folks,
Thanks very much.
we're going to take you out to Valley View Casino next.